Every couple of weeks, a new viral post pops up telling you that your 401k is basically a government trap, that you're handing over control of your money, that it's all one big scheme. And look, I get it. It sounds scary, but most of that is just noise. Here's the thing, though. There are actual, legitimate, mathematically sound reasons why funneling every single dollar into your traditional 401k might not be the best play. This isn't about panic. This is about strategy. The question you should be asking isn't, is my 401k a scam? The real question is, based on my income today, my projected income later, and my retirement goals, where does my next dollar actually belong? Sometimes it's the traditional 401k. Sometimes it's a Roth. Sometimes it's a brokerage account or paying off debt. The whole point is to stop operating on autopilot and start being strategic. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So let's talk about why this topic even needs a video. The issue with social media and financial advice is that the scary take always wins. Those 45-second clips where someone screams that the 401k is stealing your money get millions of views. But the thoughtful breakdown? That doesn't trend. So let me set the record straight. The 401k is one of the best wealth-building tools available to working Americans. According to Fidelity, which oversees more than 45 million retirement accounts, more people have reached millionaire status through their employer-sponsored 401k than through any other account type. There are now over 400,000 people who've crossed the $1 million mark inside their 401k alone. And that number has been climbing year after year, even through downturns. For most people, the 401k isn't just part of the plan, it is the plan. But even the best tool in the toolbox can become the wrong tool in the wrong situation. Let's start with one that surprises a lot of people. If you're a disciplined saver with a growing income or a large traditional balance, every additional dollar going into that traditional 401k could be creating a bigger tax problem down the road. Required minimum distributions, or RMDs, kick in at age 73 right now and will soon move to 75. At that point, the IRS forces you to withdraw a calculated amount from your tax-deferred accounts every year, whether you need that money or not. And those withdrawals count as taxable income. Research from Morningstar and Vanguard consistently shows that high savers often end up paying more in taxes during retirement than expected. Your earned income might disappear, but your taxable income often doesn't. RMDs force money out on a schedule, and that stacks on top of Social Security benefits, which themselves become partially taxable. Add a pension or dividends, and it all piles up. For diligent savers, RMDs alone can push them into a higher bracket than what they experienced during their peak earning years. On top of that, Vanguard's modeling shows that portfolios in the $1 to $2 million range often compound faster than RMDs pull money out. So your balance keeps climbing, distributions get bigger, and your tax bill marches right along. This completely breaks that old saying about being in a lower bracket in retirement. There's also the problem of tax bracket compression in retirement. When you're working, you have multiple levers to manage your taxable income: deductions, contributions, timing of bonuses. But in retirement, your income sources narrow and your flexibility shrinks. Social Security taxation thresholds haven't been adjusted for inflation in decades. Medicare IRMAA surcharges create harsh cliffs where a small income bump triggers significantly higher premiums. Capital gains layer on top of ordinary income. RMDs sit above all of it. When you hit these thresholds, your effective tax rate can actually exceed whatever bracket the IRS officially publishes. And then there's the fact that the tax code rewards diversification, not concentration. A 4 to 6% withdrawal on a large traditional balance can easily push retirees into the 22 24, or even 32% bracket, especially if pension income is in the picture. Meanwhile, Roth accounts, brokerage accounts, and HSAs don't come with forced taxable withdrawals. This is exactly why researchers push for tax diversification. It's not about having more accounts for the sake of it. It's about giving yourself the flexibility so your withdrawals work with the tax system instead of against it. So yes, if the math shows your future RMDs could push you higher, it may be time to redirect some dollars. Next, your tax bracket today versus tomorrow. This one matters if you're in your 20s, 30s, or early 40s. If you're early in your career with a lower income but strong projected growth, contributing to a traditional 401k might be the wrong move. You'd be taking a deduction in one of the lowest brackets you'll ever be in, only to pay taxes later when you're in a higher one. Research from the National Bureau of Economic Research shows that when income grows even 1 to 3% per year, Roth contributions tend to produce more after-tax wealth over a lifetime. Quick example. You start at $60,000 a year, growing at just 2%. You're in the 12 or 22% bracket early on. Fast forward 15 to 20 years, and that same person could be earning $140,000, sitting in the 24% bracket or higher. If you contributed to the traditional early, you got a break at 12 or 22%, but in retirement, those RMDs might be taxed at 24 or more. The TIAA Institute found similar results, that workers in the bottom 3 brackets early in their careers benefit the most from Roth contributions as income climbs. You're not stopping savings here. You're just sending that dollar to a Roth 401k instead. Here's one the internet never talks about because it's not dramatic enough. Sometimes you need access to your money more than you need a tax deferral. If you don't have an emergency fund, if you're carrying high interest debt, if you're saving for a home, or if one unexpected expense could derail everything, then locking up every available dollar in a 401k isn't optimal. Now let me be clear. If your employer offers a match, always contribute enough to capture the full match. That's a 50 to 100% instant return you won't find anywhere else. Take the free money. But after that, build a real emergency cushion, eliminate high interest debt, look into an HSA, or consider a taxable brokerage account with penalty-free access. The 401k isn't bad here. The timing is just wrong. Stability is the foundation that keeps your long-term plan from collapsing. Speaking of access, if you're planning to retire before age 59 and a half, the traditional 401k creates a real problem. Unless your plan offers something like the Rule of 55, which allows penalty-free withdrawals if you leave your employer at 55 or later, your money is essentially locked until that age with a 10% early withdrawal penalty. That completely defeats the purpose if your timeline says you want out at 45 or 50. The smart move is to build up a taxable brokerage account alongside your retirement accounts. Yes, there's some tax drag since you fund it with after-tax dollars and investment income gets taxed annually. But if you stick to low-cost, low-turnover index funds and hold for more than a year, gains are taxed at the favorable long-term capital gains rate, often 0, 15, or 20% depending on your income. Plus, and this is key, only the growth is taxed. Your original contributions, the principal, come back to you completely tax-free because you already paid taxes on those dollars. Use the brokerage to fund your early retirement years, then let traditional and Roth accounts carry you from 59 and a half onward. You get flexibility now and the tax advantages later. Now, this absolutely does not mean you abandon retirement accounts altogether. Those are still incredibly powerful because they let your money grow either tax-deferred or tax-free. The goal is to have both. Build the bridge account for early access and keep the retirement accounts for the long haul. Another scenario? When the plan itself is terrible. Some 401s have fantastic low-cost options. Others are loaded with expensive funds, limited choices, and hidden fees. Even a 1% difference in annual fees can reduce your final balance by 20 to 30% over a career. Large employer plans typically run 0.4 to 0.6% all in. Mid-size plans average 0.7 to 1%, but small employer plans under 100 employees, those can range from 1 to 1.75%. Watch out for high fund expense ratios where an expensive active fund charges 0.65 to 1.5% versus a good index fund at 0.03 to 0.1%. Asset-based admin fees above 1% are a red flag. Managed account fees can add another 0.25 to 0.9% on top of everything. If your plan has high fees, get your match and direct additional savings to an IRA where you control the costs. Last one, and high savers especially need this. If Roth conversions are part of your strategy, you may want fewer dollars going into the traditional bucket right now. If you keep growing that traditional balance aggressively, you end up with a much larger amount to convert later and a larger tax bill during conversion. Shifting some contributions to Roth now gives you tax-free growth today, slows the traditional balance growth to keep RMDs manageable, and creates room to convert strategically at lower rates later. The smaller your traditional balance in your 60s, the easier it is to execute conversions in low brackets and maintain control over your taxable income throughout retirement. So here's the big takeaway. The question is never, should I avoid my 401k? It's always, where does my next dollar create the most value? The retirees with the smoothest retirements have money across all three buckets: tax-deferred, tax-free, and taxable. That combination gives you flexibility. The ability to choose which dollars to use and when is the ultimate advantage. I am a huge advocate for the 401k. I use them. I believe in them. But dumping every dollar into one account type without understanding the long-term consequences isn't a strategy. That's autopilot. And autopilot is how people end up with unexpectedly high tax bills and fewer options when they need them most. Don't let clickbait scare you out of saving. And don't let inertia make all your decisions. Be intentional. Ask where your next dollar belongs. When you do that, you're building a plan that actually works for you.